Привет. What do you normally do when you don't know a word in a foreign language? For example, in Russian, you would most likely look it up in a dictionary or Google Translate or some online dictionary or the one you have installed in your mobile, right? But it's not always the best solution because, verbs, for example, do not always translate directly from one language to another. It seems that in some languages people like particular verbs and don't like some others, and the system is asymmetric this way. For example, in Russian, we don't like the verb to do or the verb to take, right? Делать or брать, взять. I have a video about that, so you can refresh it if you like. And there are verbs we particularly like. So what do you think they are? Verbs of motion, of course. By the way, do you like our verbs of motion? Write in the comments. So, with verbs of motion, you can't always trust your dictionary. And in this video, I'm gonna tell you how we use our verbs of motion, unprefixed in this part of the video, in the figurative sense, or not like they would be used in other languages. Let's go. Поехали. Let's take the first verb идти. And many things that wouldn't work in other languages would in Russian. Например, дождь или снег. In Russian they... What do you think? Дождь или снег идет или ходит? Слава Богу, идет. I've never seen it going the other way. And many other processes, actions, also go in Russian. Например, идет урок, идет экзамен. Фильм или сериал идет по телевизору или в Netflix. Какой сериал, хороший сериал сейчас идет? Напишите. Let me know. Идет ремонт. Лифт не работает, идет ремонт. And we also use идет to say it suits you. Например, это новая рубашка. Мне идет красный цвет. Что вам идет, а что не идет? And also, there is a usage that might cause some misunderstanding in real life. When Russians agree and like your suggestion, they say идет, va bene, ça va, like in some other languages. So, all right, I agree. And their foreign friends or partners sometimes misunderstand it for idiot. Right? So when you hear Russians smile and say, идет, they don't mean to offend you. They say they agree. That's all right. They accept your suggestion or proposal, right? Actually, once I had a student who was the top manager of the St. Petersburg office of a big shipping company. And as we were learning verbs of motion, I told him that идет also means all right. And he was really happy to hear that because he had this impression that sometimes when he was talking to his Russian clients about some shipping delivery, he would make them a proposal, like give a discount or something, and they would smile, look at him and say, идет, идет. And he would feel like there was something wrong. Was the discount too big? Why are they calling me an idiot? So he was really happy to learn that it's just about the language. In slightly more elevated language, идет can be used in a number of other expressions. For example, русская нефть идет на экспорт. Да? Идет нефть, and it doesn't come back, being exported to other countries. We also say идти на конфликт or идти на компромисс и идти навстречу, which is in fact, it means the same as идти на компромисс, да? Идти навстречу. And there is a good expression, о чем идет речь. What's it about? О чем идет речь? Речь идет о тебе. Или, it's about life and death. Речь идет о жизни и смерти. Это серьезный вопрос, да? Or, for example, it can be used for a movie or a book. О чем идет речь в фильме? В фильме речь идет о будущем, about the future, right? Or there is a great expression, идти на все, which means you're going to do something, whatever it takes, at any cost. Например, некоторые ютуберы идут на все, чтобы стать популярными. Finally, if we talk about idiomatic expressions, we can say голова идет кругом, which means I'm losing my mind, more or less. Голова идет кругом от глаголов движения. Like, because of this Russian verbs of motion, I feel like I'm losing my mind. Голова идет кругом. Вот. От чего у вас голова идет кругом? Напишите в комментариях. Let's talk about other verbs of motion in the figurative sense. Идет? Идет. Now, let's take the other verb of motion, ходить, the multidirectional walking, as you know. And by the way, if you want to learn how to use the verbs of motion in the real main meaning, please join our courses on verbs of motion. So, ходить, we often use it where in other languages people would do things, like for different hobbies or regular activities. We say ходить на бокс, or ходить на музыку, ходить на йогу. Like you don't walk in your yoga class, but we say ходить на йогу, to do yoga, right? Ходить на русский. For example, ходить на football can mean both going to see a football match, a game, and playing football, right? When it's one of your hobbies, and like every week, twice, you go somewhere and play football. And so ходить is used in the context where in many languages you would use do, and Russians won't do it, right? Ходить на йогу, ходить на музыку, ходить на танцы и ходить на футбол. Let me know, на что вы ходите, right? Например, я хожу на тайский бокс и джиу-джитсу. And in our age of social networks and fake news, it's good to know the old expression ходят слухи, which means there are rumors, right? Ходят слухи. Например, ходят слухи, что компьютеры и роботы заменят людей, right? Computers one day will replace humans. Ходят слухи. I'm recording this video during the coronavirus pandemic, so I can say ходят слухи, что вакцина меняет ДНК, changes your DNA. And now, with the verb ехать. Let's say we have a couple of important expressions, one of them being поехали, let's go. Let's go in any sense, right? In the most general sense. You don't have to actually drive somewhere to say поехали. You can say поехали and start playing the guitar, or start your Russian class, or whatever, anything else. Or have a drink, поехали. There is a famous Russian slang expression, крыша едет, which means I'm going crazy. У меня крыша едет. Например, крыша едет от грамматики. Или крыша едет от карантина и локдауна. Once again, let me know, а когда и от чего у вас едет крыша. I'll be happy to read your comments. Now, in the next video, we'll cover some more verbs of motion in the figurative sense, like бегать, носить, вести, возить. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video if you like it, share it with your friends who are learning Russian as well, and if you want to learn verbs of motion and other interesting topics with us, contact me and subscribe for our language courses. Спасибо, пока.